quiet on the set.
My name is Colleen Hawthorne. I am a 39-year-old full-time mom who about a year ago went into acting full-time. My son, my youngest son. I was approached one day in a supermarket through an agent who said he had a face for print and commercials. I disregarded the business card. About a year later, took him to an open call. I was interviewed as well, and the rest is history. The people. I meet a lot of interesting people. A lot of different storylines have come across in different scripts that I have read, and if they touch base with me, it's something that encourages me and gives me that strength to portray that character. It's actually very important because you've got to find a piece of you and do a lot of soul searching to really get into that character. So strength is probably the #1 asset that actors and actresses need in order to portray that character and bring it to realization on the screen. Currently, we just finished up a short called The Bridge, written by Robert X. Goffin, and a full-length feature called The Cage. Other than that, I've done a lot of other films, but those two hit close to home with me. The Bridge is a story written by Robert X. Goffin, who himself is an award-winning screenwriter and talented actor. It's about two different men from two different worlds and two different parts of society. They meet at the Ben Franklin Bridge, and they both have their own struggles with different things that are going on in their lives. Again, it's another story where when you tend to see somebody, you make judgment based on what you see, appearance-wise. They're both there because they both have unsettled business in their life, and they have to choose where they tend to go or how they resolve the issue that is going on in their life. The storyline is pretty interesting because you find out you should never judge a book by its cover, and you should read every chapter thoroughly before you come to a conclusion. And I really can't get into too much about it because I'll disclose the storyline, but that too is another very interesting story that makes you wake up and realize, once again, what's going on in society around you. Actually, there's a couple I'd really like to do. A lot of the supporting roles that I have had dealt with life and what's going on in life today in society. I'd like to see myself in a comedy, a documentary, a true story in a documentary form, and I'd also like to see myself do something more in a love story, something different than what I'm playing. Actually, when I was given my portion of the script to read, the director, Jesse, and Lori didn't really give me a lot of information about the film. They just told me what it was that I was going to portray. When we got on set and we shot it, and it came to life, it kind of brought a lot of things, I think, that we in society take advantage of, or tend to look at somebody and automatically assume we know a little bit about that individual by the way they act. I feel a lot of different things. First, I question what we are doing as society to help these people. I question what is right and what is wrong. I question how did an individual get to that point without anybody interceding, and what's going to happen to that person if someone doesn't intercede. A lot of times, from what I've learned from reading the script and doing The Cage, people can function every day of their life and you would never know that there was something wrong. But then there's something that happens that triggers that emotion, and that sets forth the spiraling that happens with those who have mental disease. And sometimes intervention is something that is so imperative to change that person and set them forth in the right direction. So that's a real big issue with me. I don't think there is an answer because everybody is different. I think everybody has to be treated differently because everybody's disease or illness or impairment is unique in its own way. But what I do know is each and every one of us have a disability and handicap. It's just how we choose to beat the odds, or how we choose to step forward to make a difference in our lives. And I think that uniqueness is something that we should all utilize to help those who have mental demise or illness. Inspired and educated, believe it or not. Really inspired and educated. And I say that sincerely because I have been in New Jersey and in Philadelphia and Love Park, where we see a lot of people that we assume are just homeless. And normally I would think, you know, my God, it's cold out. I mean, they should have enough sense to get off the street and go to someplace warm. The reality is a lot of those individuals are homeless due to, you know, mental demise. And now when I'm walking those streets, I step back and I take a look. And I think to myself, you know, my goodness, for them, they don't understand the reality between, you know, what's really going on versus what we see, you know. And for me, that was an awakening. I'm not very quick to judge people anymore. So I left there educated, you know, with a little bit of knowledge, because it happens more and more and more and more. And yet we are so quick to judge people just by what we see. So I have learned not to be so judgmental. Okay, The Cage was written by Jesse James Jackson and rewritten by Lori Childress, Michael Panichelli Jr., myself, and a young girl by the name of Lauren. We play roles of families and patients who are stuck in battling mental illness. There's a lot of reality behind that film, and the reason it touches so close to me is because a lot of writers and a lot of directors don't want to touch on mental disease. And so portraying the character that I had to portray and working with some of the incredible talent that I've worked with, this film really came to light. Not to mention it was nominated, and Lauren had won Best Actress in that film. So I'm proud of being a part of such a production. That's Michael J. Panichelli Jr. We met back in 2007, early 2008, on another film called The Ritual, written by Anthony Spadacino. From that point on, we moved into The Cage. He introduced me, actually, believe it or not, to Lori Childress and Jesse Jackson, who both wrote, produced, and directed that film. Believe it or not, I never met them, actually, until the day of the shoot.
Wow.
So I didn't even audition. It was really word of mouth. So that's odd in this business. You do not land a job through word of mouth. He was my co-star in The Cage, and he too was also up for a nomination for Best Actor. Mike and I are two different people. Mike's got a lot of energy. I'm a little more laid back, so we do balance each other out. On set, it's strictly business, and off set, we are very good friends. We've done 4 productions together, 4 films together, and we still work together when we can, you know, but we support one another, and you need that in this business. You need someone who supports your ideas, supports your thinking, and supports what it is that you're going to do. Because without support, you really can't move on to the next level or fulfill those dreams and goals that you set out for yourself. I like Denzel Washington. He can pull any character off as if he is that individual, and that's hard to do. I like his ability to be flexible, and he's just very talented, brilliant, very talented. Wow, the nuts and bolts. It's hard breaking into this business. I think in order to succeed and to be able to fit that nut with that bolt, you have to be mentally prepared. You have to be willing to sacrifice. You have to have a lot of education and knowledge, and have a reality check and understand it don't happen overnight. I mean, there's a lot of people in this business 8, 9, 10 years in, and they think they're going to be an overnight success. It doesn't happen. That's just a reality. You have to be smart and educated, and you really need a support team around you. I have a support team around me, so I'm very lucky. People know that I have to sacrifice a lot of time and a lot of energy to do what it is that I want to do. But I set a goal for myself, and I think anybody who wants to get into this business needs to do that. They need to set a goal for themselves and understand that it is hard, and you have to be mentally stable. And when you have that support team and the knowledge, every little step you take is just a step forward and closer to what you propel yourself to be, you know, down the road. That's important. A lot of people will give you advice, and a lot of us take that advice, but you have to remember the advice you're given and be smart enough to research. I love it. I probably like it a little more better right now than I do New York. It's great working with local talent. You get to introduce yourself to local talent and network. And there's a lot right now going on in Philadelphia. The tri-state area like Camden and Delaware and Philadelphia have a lot to offer. We've got a lot of talented people. We've got a beautiful city. Sometimes they think Camden and New Jersey gets a bad rap, so to speak, and they don't realize that there's so much here to offer. And I think when we can get more companies and more production teams and more directors in this area to see what we have to offer, we could really take this to the next level. So I enjoy working in this city. I really do. In any career you make, there is a disappointment. You could be a lawyer, you could be an event planner, you can work in the stock industry. A career is a career, and there's always disappointment no matter what job you decide to take full time. So it's just a part of, you know, waking up every morning and going off to work. There's disappointment in everything that you do. Wow. Who wants to survive? Well, you need to keep dedicated and focused. And sticking it out, that's the hard part. I think a lot of people give up too easy. Sticking it out, being consistent, constantly moving, and focusing. Focusing is really important as well. And I think any upcoming new actor, actress, or director coming into this city to survive, if they network, if they meet with the locals, get an idea of what it is that we have to offer, community teamwork is probably the best way, especially in this city. There is a lot of community networking, a lot of groups that come together, network off of one another, give feedback to one another. I think that's really essential for climbing that ladder and reaching what it is that you want to reach, so that's important.
What is your name?
My name is James Tiberius Kirk.
You've always had a hard time finding your place in this world, haven't you? Never knowing your true worth. You can settle for less than ordinary life. Or do you feel like you were meant for something better? Something special?
You will always be a child of two worlds, and fully capable of deciding your own destiny. The question you face is, which path will you choose?
Are you afraid or aren't you?
I will not allow you to lecture me.
Then why do you stop me?
Prepare to fire all weapons. I like this ship.
That's exciting.
Space is disease and danger, wrapped in darkness and silence.
Buckle up. day's over.
One by one.
They step forward.
A nurse.
A teacher.
A homemaker.
And lives are saved.
But the problem
Is enormous.
every 3 seconds.
One person dies.
Of starvation.
AIDS.
Poverty.
Aid groups.
Are uniting as one.
But we need your help.
One more person.
Letter.
Voice can spell the difference.
Americans have an unprecedented
Opportunity.
To make poverty history.
Please visit one at this address. One.org.
My name is Michael J. Panichelli Jr. I'm an actor, producer. It's a funny story. My girlfriend, Lori Childress' daughter, was into modeling when she was 15 years old. And she had this open call thing in Pleasantville. And at the time, I was a state correction officer, had a bad temper, bad demeanor. I was built well. So I'm over there hanging out, and this guy comes walking up to me. He says, hello. I says, how you doing? He says, anybody ever tell you you're a good-looking man? I said, yeah, dude. We got a problem here. I said, 2 choices. Either you're going to step off, or I'm going to snap your neck. Because I didn't want to deal with this guy, right? He says, no, honest to God, my name is Mike Basilla, and he owns OTM Modeling Agency, which was given the open call. I said, no, I never gave it thought. And he told me to give his office a call in the morning, and he's going to give me directions where to go, because he says I should be in movie and TV. So I got the card and I threw it. So my girlfriend picked it up, she says, what's this? So I told her. So we ended up calling him, and I ended up going to Michael Emmons casting through him, and I had an extra role in Unbreakable. And we were there for three and a half weeks. I was a background scene, which was never brought to film. It was cut out, and that's how I started. And the incredible thing was, you never know who you're talking to. So I learned a big lesson that day. You're not a tough guy. You always got to treat people the way you want to be treated. I was always a class clown, per se. I was making everybody laugh, and especially where I worked at Southern State Correction Facility in Delmont, New Jersey. I was a state correction officer there. I would make everybody laugh, and they said, oh, you got to go into comedy, this, that, and that. And I never gave it any thought at all to that day I went to Michael Emmons casting. The enjoyment I get from acting myself, not for anyone else, is the people that I meet. Not the money that you make, not the fame or the fortune per se. I've been all over the country acting, and the people that I'm meeting, making friends with, is priceless. You can't put a price on it, and it's incredible the amount of talent that's out there and nobody knows about it. But I enjoy traveling and meeting people. I act, I get out there, I do my auditions, okay, I get the parts. Sometimes I don't get the parts, but to be real about this business, can't trust anybody. I'm Little Red Riding Hood in the forest, and all the wolves are around me. I love it, okay, but I'm at the point now that I'm progressing very, very fastly over the last year and a half, thanks to Robert X. Goffin, thanks to Jesse James Jackson, Perry Jenkins, Lori M. Childress. I mean, I can go on and on and on. If you want to be an actor, okay, if you want to be an actor, you better have a job. You better have an income, because you ain't going to make money out there. Okay, let's start from the beginning that you don't know anything about acting, and you want to get into the field. And you don't know anyone's in acting, okay? You have acting classes, which are good. You go to these classes and you spend $200–300 for a 6–7 week course. You're not going to learn anything. okay? You should go for script reading, okay? Improvisation, that's big, okay? If you can learn a script, especially cold reads. A cold read is when you go on an audition, to give you a piece of paper, to give you 5 minutes to learn it. You got to figure the character out, okay, the type of energy you have to put into this part, okay? And then before you do the audition, you ask them, what type of character do you want, okay? And then, boom, you have to go right into it. But as far as me telling you, oh yeah, go to this school over here, okay, they're going to call you. I'll tell you what we're going to do for you. Tony, you came to the right place. $850, okay? I'm going to give you one headshot, okay? And I'm going to put your name out there all over the place. And you're going to get call after call after call. Whoa, no kidding. That's how easy it is. All right, let me write you the check. Give him the check, takes his headshot, which a headshot maybe, you can get a good headshot for 40, 50 bucks. You can do your own headshot. The only way you make it in this business, doing it yourself. Pound of payments, audition after audition after audition. I've been to many auditions and they told me don't quit my day job. You stink, you're a bum. You know what I tell them? Thank you for the advice. I take it to heart. I'll be seeing you in a couple years. I went to a professional top class teacher in New York, okay, and for a school. Okay, I said, let me take this school. I'm not going to mention any names. And all he did for 6 weeks was pound and degrade, dehumanize the actors that are on screen today making 20, 30 million a movie. And I asked him one day, I said, you know, sir, I says, let me interject here. I said, you're telling me that Robert De Niro or Tom Cruise or Tom Hanks don't know how to act. I'm just taking them in, you know. And he says, well, yeah. I says, well, why aren't you acting? Why aren't you making 20, 30 million? He says, because I enjoy this. I said, you took 400 bucks from me for 6 weeks. You got 10 people in this class, okay? It's $4,000 for 6 weeks. I said, you know what your problem is? You ain't got no self-esteem. I got up and I walked out. And that was the 3rd week I was there. You know, Tony, I'm real, man. I ain't being a big shot here. Okay, I wanted people out there to know what's going on. I mean, I consider myself a talented individual. I perform well. Yes, I'm bragging, but I can say that. I can back my words up, okay? And I'm at the point now that in the beginning when you start, you got to know somebody to get the good parts. It took me 9 years to get a speaking part. I was in Unbreakable, Changing Lanes, Rocky Balboa, on and on with major motion pictures, just sitting there in the audience, 2-3 seconds, spending 3 to 4 weeks sitting on a set, sometimes not even making a dime. Well, we just finished The Bridge. Jersey Style Films, Jesse James Jackson, Perry Jenkins, our partners in the corporation. And we shot the movie at the Ben Franklin Bridge, and Colleen Hawthorne, she had a little part in that too, but she's also marketing coordinator for that movie with Laurie M. Childers. I met Colleen on the set in Delaware for the movie called, we did a movie called Head Case, and now we're doing another movie called A Ritual. And Colleen happened to be there one day, and I wasn't shooting, I just went there to hang out. And I met Colleen, and I seen something in her that I haven't seen in anyone else in the acting field. She wasn't phony. She was a real person. She was down to earth, beautiful lady, very well versed, totally professional. I don't know if it's politically correct, but I don't care about being politically correct. I want to crack the ring. You're probably going to cut this out.
Okay.
Catholic priests. I dropped out of the Catholic religion. I don't go to church anymore. because you read in papers. Father Tom, 20 years ago, molested 400 kids. And Father John was caught with a candy bar in his pocket, and he had a couple kids follow him. You know, stuff like that. I'm not down with that, okay? I want to do a movie, which we have one. We have one pre-production. I'm not going to tell you the name, okay? But I go in as an undercover priest, and we knock out a big ring. They have the power to draw you in, okay? And then they take you in confidence, and they do what they want with you, and you think it's right. Take an innocent child, okay? The priest, you know, Tony, that's a hard question to answer because I don't have that kind of mind. I can't think like a child molester because I won't think like a child molester. You can't believe anybody, okay? You can't trust anybody, okay? The only one you can trust is yourself. But you have to have self-esteem, self-confidence. You can't walk in there like, you know, here I am. You got to walk in there. You got to lay back. You got to watch what's going on, okay? But for me to tell you what to do at when you first starting out, I can't do that. You're your own person. But I can give you advice. The bottom line, don't trust anybody. You need Lord involvement in everything you do. I'm talking to you, the Lord brought me to you. I'm going to go out and get in the car. I need the Lord next to me so I don't get in an accident. Without the Lord, you're nothing. Okay? Without the Lord, you're nothing. And He still has my mom. I take care of my mom. She's 82, God bless her. You know, she lives with me. I got a wonderful girlfriend. She's got wonderful children and grandchildren. I got wonderful grandchildren, and that's because of the good Lord. That's because of the good Lord. Michael J. Panichelli Jr. I'm an actor.